Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Blurk, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2014, and this is episode 66. Roses are red, Valentine's Day was blue. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. So I'm recording a day late because my grandpa passed away on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is historically in my immediate family not a good day. When I was 5, that was the day that my parents got into the big fight that led to their divorce. So every year since then, Valentine's Day has gone on in, this kind of manner. I think there have been 2 Valentine's Days that weren't horrible. Not because I expect them to be, things just happen. Like, I have no control over when my grandpa dies, and he did on Valentine's Day. So it's not like I have it in my mind that it's going to be bad, so it is bad. Things just happen. Anyway, I'm late because we went to Michigan to support my family. My grandpa's mass is on Thursday, which we're not going to be there for. But we had a memorial sort of thing at my grandma's house on Sunday, which I went to, my family went to. So it was good to see everybody. It was sad that it had to be at my grandpa's passing. Anyway, on to less sad things. So highlights of the weekend, because yes, it was sad, but highlights, I got to see my best friend. I try to see her every time I go to Michigan, and she cut my hair. You can't tell. It looks nice, but right now it's still damp because I showered this morning, and my hair takes, I don't know, 6-ish hours to dry. There's a lot of it. I got a tattoo. My sister and I have been planning to get coordinating tattoos for a while, so I got comedy and she got tragedy. Mine's behind my right ear, hers is behind her left ear. They're just really simple tattoos. My kids got to play with their cousins, which was exciting for them. And now I'm here, so let's get on with the knitting. The first thing I want to talk about is a knit along that is coming up. Josh Ricks, sort of a knitter, designed a shawl, and it is a mystery knit along. It's kind of the ZK mystery knit along. So I test knit it, and I am going to show you what yarns I used in case you are planning on taking part in it and you don't know what you want to go with. I like the way that my test knit turned out. I think it looks really great. So this was my color A. This is Nooch Fiber Midtown Sock in the colorway, I don't remember the colorway now. It'll be in show notes. So my color B is Madeline Tosh Window Pane, and my color C is Nooch Fiber Midtown Sock, and I don't remember, I think this is Murky too, like Murky TOO, but it'll all be in the show notes. I should have written it down. I don't know why I thought I would just remember it. So these are my 3 colors. A, B, C. It's a 3-color shawl. These are all about 400 yard skeins. It says that you'll use about 300. I didn't break 250 of any of my colors, but obviously round up a little bit just in case people have different gauge. So that's what mine looks like, and I will be showing you photos to go along with the clues as we go through. I took a photo after each clue, so I hope you're knitting along. That it's a really, really nice shawl. There's very easy color work, but it's not really color work. So it's really simple. No, it's not really simple. It's really easy to follow along with, but it's definitely like an advanced beginner. It's got short rows, slip stitches. It's not too crazy, but it probably shouldn't be your first shawl. I'm really sorry about the dog. I am incredibly sorry. So Steve's home right now. He has today off and he goes back to work tomorrow, and he said he was going to keep the children and the animals quiet, and he is not keeping the animals quiet. That's very frustrating for me. I'm really out of sorts because it feels like Sunday to me here instead of Tuesday, and I feel like I shouldn't be recording until tomorrow, but that would be Wednesday, and that would be really, really late. So I'm sorry if I'm all over the place and blah. The knitting knit along is still going on. I still have not cast on my project, but I will. And I haven't even really been on Ravelry to see if anyone has chatted or commented. I'm sorry. I was just gone the entire weekend and I didn't check in at all. So if you've posted, fantastic. If you're thinking about posting and you haven't yet, please do. Go ahead and feel free to start your projects or not, or just say, hey, I would like to, but maybe I won't be able to, but this is what I'm thinking, because I really enjoy looking at what people are thinking. I know life gets in the way though, so good intentions don't always happen. I'm going to pause and go let the dog in so he stops barking. Okay, finished objects. I have several, but I only have one to show you in person because a lot of them stayed in Michigan. This is Dirk Dragon by Lydia Tresselt, and Dirk is made using 716 knit, 716 sock in hamsters and neon green for the cuffs and the spikes, and then these wings are made out of hand spun that Jenna of 716 Knit made and sent so I could put wings on her dragon. And this is 716 sock in bear. So there's Dirk. Adorable. I kind of really, really, really want my own little dragon, but what would I use it for? My children would steal it and destroy it, and that's a lot of time and effort to put into something that my children would steal and destroy. So maybe in like 5 years, when my children might maybe have a little more respect for my stuff. I'm not holding my breath. I recall using my mom's things when I was, in my teens. But maybe someday I'll make myself a cute little dragon, because how cute is that? Dirk will have a scarf when Dirk gets home, and Jenna's going to make it, and then that will keep the head up a little bit better. How cute is that? I'm in love and I don't want to send Dirk away, but I'm going to. So cute. So that's the first. Next I have the Age of Rest and Steam by Orange Flower Yarn using 716 Knit, 716 Boss in Spotty Rainbow. And I gave that to my sister while I was in Michigan, because she's really, really into rainbows, and I like it. I like rainbows, and I liked the shawl. It's kind of smallish. It's a kerchief. I realize that my sister will probably wear it more than I do because, as you may have noticed, if you've been here for a little while, I wear dark colors, and that rainbow is definitely not a dark rainbow. It was a bam in your face rainbow. I really liked it, but I probably wouldn't wear it, so I gave it to her, and she better wear it. I used US size 8 5.0 millimeter needles, and I made a couple adjustments to the pattern. The first little garter lace repeat was going to land during a color change, so I added 2 extra rows to that section, and then I didn't take out those 2 extra rows from the next section, so I just ended up not doing 2 of the border rows. It was just adding some a garter ridge. It's fine, the shawl doesn't particularly curl, but it definitely did use everything but a yard of, maybe a yard and a half. No, I think a yard is pretty accurate. A yard of my yarn from 716 Knit. So definitely make sure you have 225 yards before you start that shawl. I finished the test knit for Jenna. I used the Drops Fable Superwash in color 911. This is yarn that my sister had picked out of my stash to make something for her, because when she and Melissa visited last summer, they looked through my stash and picked out some yarns for each of them to have things made out of. So when Jenna was like, hey, you want to test knit? I was like, sure. I looked through all the yarns and I was like, oh, I guess I'll make some socks for Amanda. It's been, a month or something since I've done that. So I made those for her and I finished them while we were in Michigan. That way they wouldn't have to be sitting around waiting and I wouldn't have to post them. Those were made using US size 1, 2.25 millimeters. Again, it's a test knit. I can't show you what the pattern looks like, but when I can, I will. When the pattern's released, I will show you those socks again. I made a pair of rock strata mitts for one of my sister's friends, and Red Heart Super Saver Coffee, Warm Brown, and Buff. I made those using US size 7, 4.5 millimeter needles, and my sister's friend also wanted a coordinating cowl, so I used the same colors and striped them until I got sick of striping them, and then just did large sections of the buff color and then striped them again. And I did the diagonal by, on the right side row, I would knit one, make one, knit to the last 3 stitches, knit 2 together, knit one, and then on the wrong side I would just knit across. Well, I slipped the first stitches of each row to give it that edge. That was also made using the same yarn and the same needles. Works in progress. I finished most of what I was working on because I took it and there was a lot of knitting time. It's 5 hours in the car and that's just to get there, and then driving to several places, knitting in the car. So I took my Gotland, which is one of my Ravelinic projects, and it is going to be tight getting this done. I still have 6 days, I think, including today, but it's going to be tight. This is what I have left of the second third, and then I have the last third to do. And my plan at the start had been to finish 1/12 a day. I'm going to have to bump that up to about a 1/6 a day so that things can rest overnight and I have time to apply. So this will be finished today. This is Gotland from Two Sisters String Works. And I really want that done. That should be done by next week, 2-ply fingering weight. That is what I'm going for. I didn't spin on it very much. I took it with me, but I didn't spin on it very much because it was a lot of go, go, go. And it was never convenient to be spinning. Knitting for me is a lot more contained, so I could knit a lot, especially a garter cowl. It was life draining. I felt like I was dying, but you know, it was fine. The other thing that I am knitting is a test knit for Megan Williams of Second Knit Zombies. She is doing a design with Annie Light of Big Skein in the Little Wool. Little Skein in the Big Wool? I can't remember. Little Skein in the Big Wool. Yeah. They're doing a package together and I have permission to talk about this. So this is called To the Moon and Back, and this is a child size sock. And it knits up super fast because it's a child sock. I also had a lot of time to knit in the vehicle yesterday, so I made this sock yesterday, basically. I had the toe. I had started the toe before I went to Michigan, but the rest of the sock I did yesterday. Anyway, it's got some nice cabling. I do not know what this yarn is. I got this yarn from a friend for cost of shipping, but it's for Gabriel, and I'm using US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles for it. Gabriel tried it on this morning. It fits great. This is the first time I've done the OMG heel, and I think it's kind of brilliant. I don't think it's going to be my favorite heel, but I really like it, and it fits his foot really well. So that's awesome. You know I love trying new things. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say about the sock, but I can't think of it. I'll be casting on the second one today. probably. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know, before next week. I could have another finished object. I'm hoping. I did work on a few other things. I think I put a row on the sweater. A sock I put a couple rounds on, but nothing worth showing you because you won't be able to tell, really. So sock yarn blanket. Really quick, I am working on a square, so I'm going to show you how I work on squares because a lot of my mini skeins are in hank form, and what I do is I just take the hank, I don't wind it into a ball. I take the hank, and if I am at my computer chair, I hang it over the arm of my computer chair, but if I'm not, I just hang it over my arm and just pull off of it, and it moves itself. Because I'm not going very quickly, I don't need to worry about it. It's just enough to do a few stitches, and then I pull some more yarn off of it. I don't want to waste the time winding all of the mini skeins into balls of yarn when they work just as well off of the hank. And I'll show you what I'm working on right now. So this is going to be a large square. I did not take this project with me to Michigan. So I'm really, really behind on my Revel in It goal. It's just, this project is big to travel with. It covers half of my queen size bed. I laid it out and it covers half of it. So it's just kind of big to try to transport, and I am really behind. So this is how many squares I need to do. And every time I finish a project, I do an extra square on my blanket. Whenever I finish a project, I do an extra square and an extra hexapuff because they're modular things and I want them done super quickly, but I don't want to feel like I'm a slave to them. So when I finish a project, I'm like, oh, I'll do a celebratory hexapuff and a celebratory square. So those are how many squares I need to get done by Sunday. More if I finish projects, which hopefully I'll be finishing at least one by Sunday. We'll see. So this is ZK yarn, this big square that I'm knitting right here, and as you can see, I have my stitch marker in the middle, so I don't have to think about it. I just move the stitch marker as necessary to keep my center stitch. Now, progress. All of these that have stitch markers, I have done in the last week, and these are all ZK yarns right here. All of these, except the green one, are yarns that I got from ZK, and this green one is the Daria Prototype 716 knit yarn from Jenna. So I got a lot done, but I didn't nearly reach my quota because I haven't worked on it since Friday. Except this morning I picked it up so I would have something to work on while I was talking about things that I couldn't show you. So now I'm working on that. I did take my hexapuffs though because those are quick and easy to transport. So I got 14 hexapuffs done. I think that's one every day. That should be one every day because I don't think I had done one on Monday before the podcast, plus one for each project that I finished. Made socks for my mom out of this. I made the diagonal lace socks by Wendy Johnson out of that for my mom. I've made several pairs of socks out of this. A pair of socks for Becca, one for my mom, and one for my sister using that. This is some yarn that I got from my friend Becca, a different Becca, not the one that I made socks for. I made my mom a pair of socks using this. It's Red Heart, Heart and Soul, Toasted Almond, and I designed socks that said Mom in Morse code for ribbing. This square and this square are made using the same two yarns, striped on this one and half on this one. These are both Plymouth Happy Feet, and they don't have colorway names, they just have numbers. I made Kaime socks for myself out of the green, and I call them dragon scale socks on my project page out of the blue and purple for my sister. I made socks for 2 pairs of socks for my friend Becca using this yarn. It's Yarn Bee Walkaway in Tango. The other yarn that's purple that I had made several socks out of is Yarn Bee Walkaway in Ballet. This is some dragon yarn, 716 sock in neon green. This is more dragon yarn, 716 sock in hamsters. This square is made out of 2 yarns from Josh. They were mini skeins that I didn't have enough of to make. I've already used them in my sock yarn blanket, so I had just little scrappy leftovers. So here's one, and then this is the other that he gave me at the ZK. These are made using the Fable. This is made using this Fable Superwash that I just made the Jenna Testnet socks for my sister using. This is Hippie Penguin. It was a club color from the county fair club, and it's called Ducklings and Chicks. So that's one side and this is the other. This is Solar Flare Fibers in the Apollo base in sea glass. I use this to make the Fear Shard. And this is 716 knit, 716 sock in Spontaneous Cheerleader Combustion, and I did this the Fancy Dancy method, where you start in the middle and work your way out for the hex puff. And I ran out of yarn on the back, so I switched to some Red Heart, Heart and Soul in Green Umbi for the back. So those are my hexa puffs, and look at this. The jar is almost full. That means next week I'm going to start putting them together. Not all at once. It'll probably be like a few a week will get put together, just enough so that it's not a whole bunch of hexa puffs sitting around that I have to put together all at the end, because that will never happen. I would die. I did 14 this week, which brings my total up to 35 hexa puffs. And at the next week, I will also have the continual update of sock yarn blanket squares. Again, I didn't count, but Ravelinics will be over next week, so I will have the number for you. I have a couple new things from Leading Men Fiber Arts. This is the Showcase base in blue steel. Pull up. There we go. I'm going to be making a shawlette out of that, the Ashton shawlette. I balled it up because I was thinking that I might have a little more knitting time than I did in Michigan, so I was going to start that if I had had time, but I didn't. And then this is Showstopper in Gothic Queen, and these will become Gothic Spire socks by Cookie A. I finished reading The Diviners by Libba Bray, and it's definitely going to be a series or trilogy or something. It's definitely going to be more than one book, which I will probably read when they come out. I enjoyed it. The end moved very quickly. I was a little bit let down, honestly. Like there was so much buildup, and then the resolution was kind of weak, I felt, but not bad. I would still read. I enjoyed the story enough that even though the resolution was a little bit weak, I'll read the second one and see if it's any good. If the second one is bad, then I probably won't read subsequent books. I started and finished reading a book called Gated, which I didn't write down the author, but it will be in the show notes, which was really interesting from like an anthropological aspect. It is about a girl who lives in, it's a young adult fiction book, a girl who lives in a gated community, one of those pre-apocalyptic kind of cult things. And it talks about growing up there and getting ready for the end of days, which is 3 months from now. They tell you that in the first chapter, so I'm not spoiling anything. It's really interesting what she goes through, what they go through. how she views the world and other people. I think it was a really interesting read, and it was really fast too. I think I read it in 2 days. It was interesting to be inside someone else's head, inside something that I wouldn't normally think about. I also, once I finished that, I started reading A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, I think. I didn't write that down either. That is a much more difficult read. The subject matter is, if you've seen the movie, the subject matter is, kind of crazy and horrific. But that's not why it's a difficult read. It is a difficult read because every third word is slang, and not normal slang, not slang that I would be aware of. I believe. I read the introduction, but I read the introduction right before I went to sleep one night. So I believe that the author said that the slang is based off of Russian words. I could be making that up. That could have been a dream that I had. But I think that's what he said. So there's just a lot to remember, slang-wise. Like, rot means mouth, and that's the only one that sticks out. And I feel like more should stick out. So it's just a lot of paying attention to make sure that you understand what they're saying, because you can kind of understand some words contextually, and some words you just have to remember from several pages ago when you read it and figured it out contextually. I watched the movie when I was in high school, and I vaguely remember it. I also watched it at the end of a movie marathon, so I think I slept through some of it. So I remember it was horrific, but I'm looking forward to reading the book. I know that once I get several chapters in, the slang will just become normal in my head. I'll have it all figured out, and I'll be able to follow it, but I'm only into the second chapter, so I'm still struggling a little bit. And there are only 21 chapters, so it's a pretty short book. In the original American release, there were only 20 chapters because the American publisher thought that the last chapter was just kind of weak and not necessary, but now it has the 21st chapter, so that should be interesting. The movie also doesn't have the 21st chapter in it. So I am looking forward to see new things when I read the 21st chapter. My list for you today is not really my normal type of list, but there are a couple events that are coming up that I'm going to that I thought maybe if you were in the area or were going, it would be nice for you to know that I'm going, and I would love for you to come up and say hi. I am going to the Kentucky Sheep and Fiber Festival in May. It's in Lexington, Kentucky, and there are a ton of teachers. I'm actually going to pull up the list of teachers really quick. Mary Jane Mucklestone, Ann Hansen, J.C. Boggs, Dagmar Close, Constance Hall, Nicola Brown, Katie Starsman, and Laura Poulette, Martha Richard, Stephanie Stratton, Sarah Dunham, Sarah Hood, and Jessica Fallhaber. I know several of those names on the list. I don't know if I'll be taking any classes. I haven't decided yet. I didn't see the schedule when I was quickly looking this morning, but maybe it's already posted. So I might be taking classes, I might not. But if you're in the area, even if you don't want to come and see me, that's fine. Definitely look into the classes, because I looked at the names of the classes, but not who was instructing them. There are some really interesting classes. I will be there on Saturday, May 17th. Probably for a good portion of the day. If there's a Ravelry meetup, I will definitely be at that. If not, just come up and say hi to me as I'm walking through booths, because I love talking to people. But I won't go up and talk to people because I am really, really shy. So The other one is the Zombie Apocalypse, which is happening in the middle of June. I will be there. It will be exciting. I am coming in on Wednesday, so I'm doing the extra night option. That way I can get settled, and that way I don't have to hit the ground running on Friday as soon as I get off the plane. Or Thursday. What am I saying? Yeah, Thursday. That way I don't have to hit the ground running. I can just be there and ready, and yeah. So I'll be there. Come up, say hi. I don't have pins or buttons or anything cool, but I give out hugs. So if you want a hug, come up and say hi. I'll be there. That's all I have for you this week. I hope you made something fantastic with your 6 string. I've made a few more rows on the square because I need to catch up. Oh my gosh, the Rev Olympics are almost over. The Olympics are almost over, and I'm so far behind. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Bye.